And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here today to really what is kind of a historical and even a milestone day for the Office of Traffic Safety and for people who drive these highways and the freeways of the state of Minnesota. Today, primary seatbelt goes into effect. Minnesota is the 29th state to pass a primary seatbelt legislation. The Department of Public Safety really needs to thank an awful lot of people. There's too many people here to thank everyone, but a few of them certainly need to be recognized. And Governor Pawlenty, who 4 or 5 years ago said that he would sign the bill if it got to his desk, a man of his word, stood behind that promise till it got to his desk and he signed it. Certainly the legislature, Senator Murphy in the Senate, has stood very strong and very tall for many years and has been a leader in getting primary seatbelt passed in the legislature, but certainly in the Senate. And Representative Norton, who last year did really an outstanding job in providing leadership and getting that piece of legislation through the House. Another person that needs to be recognized is Kathy Cooper, whose daughter Megan died 10 years ago. Today, the reason for the enactment of the law or the implementation of the law today is because in memory of her daughter and also in honor of the work for the last 10 years that Kathy Cooper has put in trying to get primary seatbelt passed. So Kathy, thank you for everything. I think it's very important for people to understand very clearly that the people involved in the passage of primary seatbelt do not intend that this law will create more traffic tickets or increase revenue. Ideally, in a perfect world, there would be no more traffic tickets written for primary seatbelt violations and no money would be collected. We know that's not true, but the intent of this piece of legislation is to increase the compliance rate for primary seatbelt compliance in the state of Minnesota and to reduce serious injuries and deaths on our highway. With us here today are a number of families of victims of unbelted crashes that know the terrible and sudden and indescribable loss associated with traffic crashes. We will never be able to prevent crashes in Minnesota or any other location. There will always be car crashes. What we can do is reduce the number of fatalities and the number of life-altering crashes on our highways. Primary seatbelt law does that. We, in the last couple of years, have reduced traffic fatalities to levels not seen since World War II, and that is without a primary seatbelt law. Now with this piece of legislation, I think all people in the traffic safety business, enforcement educators, whatever, are going to have an opportunity to reduce those fatalities even lower. Finally, passing this primary seatbelt law was one of the goals that I had as a commissioner some 4 or 5 years ago. There was times when it was very dark in terms of the opportunity for this piece of legislation to pass, but I will feel that this is a legacy issue under our administration, and I really couldn't be more personally and professionally pleased that this legislation finally has been passed and put into effect. With that, I'd like to introduce the Colonel of the Minnesota State Patrol, Colonel Mark Donatsky.